everyone. Good evening and welcome. This is Sachi Chinde from editorial of EPR magazine, and we welcome you to an interactive power talk on advancing energy efficiency in the power sector. Advancing energy efficiency in power involves strategic initiatives to optimize generation, transmission, and consumption. Deploying innovative technologies minimizes losses, boosts system performance, and cuts system performance. Cuts environmental impact, emphasizing smarter grids, modern infrastructure, and demand management, aims for higher efficiency, low waste and emissions. This drive secures sustainable energy and aligns with the global clean energy and climate goals. Today's Power Talk is focused on advancing energy efficiency in the power sector. Our distinguished speakers will walk us through cutting-edge technologies in energy storage solutions, innovative energy management systems, the significance of UPS system, grid modernization, demand-side management, predictive analytics, and more. We are honored to have Mr. Ripunjay Parekh, presently positioned as Director at Eaton Electric Sector India. He has been leading the sales of the power distribution business for Eaton in India since October 2016. He holds 26 years of experience in industry in the field of power distribution, motor controls, industrial drives, and automation products and solutions. Presently, he has been instrumental in bringing Eaton's world-class M distribution products to India. Today, Mr. Parekh will talk about integrating RE, EV infra, and energy storage for a reliable and efficient distribution network. So let's welcome Mr. Parekh.
Hey, good afternoon, and I'm happy to be here on this session discussing on the new technologies and what we are going to see in the future. The world definitely is going through a very challenging phase, and as we see every day, you hear some of the other news about some natural catastrophe that's happening, which could be related to global warming, which could be related to, let's say, the carbon emissions and so on. And as we say, the world is also fully committed, to move towards these technologies. Maybe I'll share my screen also, and I'll try to talk about what are the mega trends in this space, how the power scenario is expected to change, how the new technologies will integrate and create an ecosystem which will be beneficial to the industry. Let me start with, so some of the mega trends as we see, primarily will drive the change in the energy space. One is for sure, let's say the adoption of electrification as compared to over fossil fuels. With the adoption of EV vehicles, we expect that the world is going to need 50% more power and electricity than what it's going to require today. At the same time, a lot of this has to come from renewables. Today, let's say the output of renewables is close to 25% of the power generation, but we believe it needs to be the other way around. India is also committed to, let's say, add up to 500 gigawatts of renewable power by 2030. Which means an opportunity to add more than 300 to 400 gigawatts over the next 8 years. The third mega trend that's going to be is in terms of digitalization. And when I say digitalization, naturally, we need to see that the data, the power, maybe say the systems are more interconnected, smart, by which we are able to manage this in an efficient way, thereby not only bringing reliability, but at the same time bringing in more efficiency. And finally, we say, the grids have to be more resilient today. The more you go towards the urban places, maybe say the rural places, you find the quality still needs to be improved, and the government is taking a lot of initiatives. But that is going to be one major mega trend. And if I look at the power landscape, Today, there's a classical where you generate power and then you transmit it over long distances, distribute it to the customers. Tomorrow, we believe the scenario is going to change. We believe that the power generation will happen at the place where, let's say, the consumption is going to happen. And that's where we call out, let's say, the local generation, integrating these powers typically from the renewable space. And how do we create one strong ecostructure? And that's where we say the consumers of today could be, let's say, the Having said that, maybe the future ecosystem of a typical classical industry or a building or a space would be, let's say, you have generation happening, which could be typically solar, because that's what you can expect at a very local level. You will have the power which comes from the grid, from the utilities. You will have EV charging, which is going to be let's say, a unique load, because that's going to be separately monitored. And finally, we believe there's a need to, let's say, manage the power by using something called an energy storage. And I'll share a little bit more. What is more important here is these things, all these elements are going to be available at a common place. So let's go into a little bit more detail about how these individual element works and why they are. When we talk of a renewable power, definitely there's a period in which the power is going to be available, and then the balance time you don't have the power generation. But then when we talk of the demand, it's going to be, let's say, slightly different than this, and you will have peak demands happening at it. It's important. Okay, the future trend could be, let's say, there could be a differential tariff. Today we have a common tariff during the day, but you will have a differential tariff. During the peak loads, the tariffs could be higher. And that's where it's important, when the power generation is happening, the load is less, you actually store that power. That's where the energy storage comes in. And you use this power, which is stored, to shave off the peak demands, by which you are able to put less on the system, as well as avoid the peak demand charges. And that's where primarily the energy storage will play a very critical role. And the modern energy storage systems are that way pretty compact. You need neat. In one single stage in a compartment, you have everything that is required and can be easily installed either in-house or, let's say, even in the outspace. The next topic I talked about, let's say, the EV charging, which is going to be another load. Right from, let's say, the grid till the time you charge your vehicle, naturally this will require dedicated infrastructure, dedicated metering, and dedicated power systems. The EV chargers of today, whether you talk of AC charging for, let's say, smaller vehicles, or for, let's say, commercial vehicles, you need a fast DC charging. The systems today are more and more efficient, and we need to ensure that we are able to drive efficiencies to the tune of 96 to 97% to reduce, let's say, the system. And finally, I talked of digitalization. You need naturally a complete software system, charge management systems to manage the power. Quickly, how the future system should look. You can actually create a containerized system where everything what I talked about can sit into one container, and this container can just sit outside your building, maybe in your garden, maybe in your compound. These devices would capture and have your power distribution products. You have your smart grid solutions, cooling, fire safety, automation, everything sitting in one container. And the future trend, and what Eaton has a pioneer in it, that these things could actually go underground without, let's say, compromising on your space. To support integration of all this, naturally Eaton also has, and you will have multiple such solutions available in the industry, where all these solutions can be integrated into one common software platform. And this software platform will have the intelligence to decide smartly when to use which power, when to, let's say, go for the energy storage, when to go for, let's say, using the energy storage, when to depend on the grid and so on. So that's how the future is going to be there. I won't go into the detail of the software, but let's say what we believe is, let's say, you can have simple dashboards for the user, where the user knows exactly what's happening in his system, how much is he generating power, how much he's using from which source. And in the future, let's say, when you have differential tariffs, he'll be able to also get a pulse of the tariff that. So that, having said that, maybe I'll only share today the switch gears. Both medium voltage and low voltage is becoming smarter to, let's say, get integrated into these systems. And as far as Eaton, we are manufacturing many of these products in-house. We have a world-class factory at Pondicherry. And with this small background, maybe Sachi, back to you. And I'll be happy to answer any questions or any further points you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parekh, for sharing your views on integrating RE, EV infra, and energy storage for a reliable and efficient distribution network.